if I'm talking too fast, I get too excited, just do that. So I have to remind myself. For me, it feels like I'm talking slow when actually this would be normal. Yeah. So I have to remember this is a normal speed.
Berlin got pretty good at talking quickly, but I mean, when there was an exciting play going on, he was getting pretty good at talking quickly, but talking clearly. Like
that's tough for me.
Kevin Harlan, something like that.
I can not talk clearly going slow because I mumble too damn much. I got nasal clear out. I mean, there's always, like, if you want to talk about, throw it, if we get in a spot about the coach or the coaches or something at the quarter or something, I don't know. We got to fire up pregame then.
What's up?
I guess we can start firing up pregame in a second.
We can fire it up with 5 minutes left on this clock up here.
Yeah. Because in 5 minutes we'll go. Everything is back to it. Could be the net here coming back in,
Pronunciation on your last
name. Chronic rate. Yeah. You? McLean. That's what I thought it might have been. I guess you crank down the video settings a little bit. Everything, because it might be a glitch. All right. They're not that high. All right, just leave it then. It could be a bit coming back in, Those guys. You can always get an instant replay here. Can you get down here? I'm sure you can get down here.
He said, I'll get there. He's excited.
Well, we can do this number. I don't know who the basket guy is.
Hey, were you able to get Century Van Lines on that?
That's too much stuff. I was at the hospital all morning. Kids on breathing tubes and shit. If they miss the first game, I'm sure he'll be fine. I got to read for them.
All right.
I'll get all that crap later. Keisha things are monsters you got to read. Look at that monster you got to read 4 times during the thing.
Yeah,
there's some of them I just picked out that one. Maybe I'll read this one 4 times over.
That is not a small read.
No, it's horrible. You got to do it on the website. So, you got to do it. I'm like, damn it. I wonder how quick their stats are in the refresh rate. Like, you get to rebound, is it right there on the screen 5 seconds later? Or are we talking like a minute later?
The stat monitor at KU games I've worked with is generally about a minute behind.
Yeah.
So, it's...
I mean, for high school here, if you were off by 1, who gives a
That'd be good.
Who gives a darn?
I'd be okay with that.
If you said, he's got 6, he now has 7.
Turns into 7, yeah. It's not like there's anybody else keeping track of the stats at home,
No, exactly, yeah. You can make up for it.
Ready to go?
Sure. Maybe. Where the...
ready to go?
Go for it.
From Topeka, Kansas at the Topeka Expo Center. This is the first round of the 5A state playoffs. Matchup between the number 1 seed Lansing Lions and the number 8 seed the Liberal Redskins. Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Ian McLean, joined by Chad Rader. We're just a few minutes away from tip-off and tipping off the state playoffs here from the Expo Center. The Lansing Lions attained the number 1 seed with a 19-3 record. The Liberal Redskins got through sub-state and won 7 of their last 8 games to finish with a 10-12 mark. But of course, we know that the Lansing Lions are a tremendous favorite in this game. Chad, what can you tell us about these two teams as we go down Lansing's starting lineup, beginning with Isaiah Grice, the senior, the leading scorer. After that, Clay Young, Lucas Mine, Chris Jones, and Mike Miller holding it down in the front court.
Well, this looks to be a matchup of three things, three keys to the game here. First of all, the athleticism of Liberal going against the strength of Lansing inside in the post. Devondre Livingston of Liberal, averaging 16 points and 7.5 rebounds, is very athletic inside, as well as J.J. Lewis and Andre Jackson. Coach Grimes had talked, Coach Briggs had talked about how they would match up against the athleticism of Liberal, but he felt that the strength and depth inside would be a difference. Of course, depth is key number 2. Lansing up and down the lineup has 7, 8, 9 guys that can get double digits any night, whereas Liberal is a little bit more thin. That was a concern of Coach Groover of Liberal as well. And number 3 is, of course, the experience of Lansing. They were here last year. They got out of the first round. They played 3 games here, and they are back here, number 1 seed. They have one thing on their mind, getting to the title game and bringing home the trophy. Liberal, of course, started out the year 3-11, and possibly coming here 6 hours away to Topeka. Maybe just a trip to state, might be just obviously a fun explanation to the season, but the experience here, been here, done that for Lansing, obviously will be the key.
And going back to your second point about the importance of depth, I think with the Lansing Lions, of course, they have Eddie Hunt coming off the bench, helping out the front court, the big 6'7" sophomore. Then after that, you've got Joe Schneider and Khalil Bailey as well, so depth is certainly an advantage for the Lansing Lions. But they did have a bit of a tempestuous ride into the postseason, losses against Baser, Linwood, and then Mill Valley. That game against Baser, Linwood was obviously a big game. It decided who won the Kaw Valley League. And in that game, Eddie Hunt actually got into some trouble and was ejected for a technical foul. So that's something that Lansing will have to keep their eye on, keep their heads, and let cooler heads prevail. Because Eddie Hunt really will be critical to the success of Lansing in the event that Mike Miller gets winded or has foul trouble along with Chris Jones.
Yeah, we saw in the Bonner Springs game a double overtime win that I believe you were also there for. I think there was a technical or so in that game as well, and it was a high-octane game. But, yeah, losing to Baser Linwood may not be a bad deal. You know, they split the season series. Baser, right up the road here in Salina on I-70, is playing in the 4A tournament and favorite possibly to win that too. So maybe the Kaw Valley could very likely get to the 5A and the 4A champion. Long ways to go, though.
Long way to go as we are nearly set to begin the first round of the 5A state playoffs from the Kansas Expo Center in Topeka. For the Liberal Redskins, they will bring Devondre Livingston, Osvaldo Villarreal, William Ross, B.J. Washington, and Britton Abbott as their starters. 3 seniors, William Ross, the junior, and Britton Abbott, the 6'2" sophomore.
After this?
Yeah,
because Briggs used to coach at Look good.
And with the national anthem underway, we are nearly ready for action between Lansing and the Liberal Redskins.
A public service announcement from the state of Kansas. The Kansas State High School Activities Association is a nonprofit organization supported by more than 758 member schools. Keisha and its member schools promote, develop, and direct interscholastic activities to contribute to a well-rounded and meaningful educational experience. The positive values of competition and good sportsmanship, both participants and spectators are continually encouraged. A public service message from the Kansas State High School Association and 810varsity.com.
And the winner of this game will face the winner of the following game here in Topeka. Either Captain Mount Carmel or St. Thomas Aquinas, both teams with a 13-9 record. And that game will be Friday at 4:45. Right now we prepare for the tip-off. It'll be Chris Jones and Devondre Livingston. Livingston gets a hands on it, and William Ross brings it down for Liberal. He's defended by Lucas Mine, and now it's with B.J. Washington. Villarreal almost loses it in the backcourt, defended by Clay Young, but he gets a hand on it. And now the ball's at the top of the key. Nice backdoor attempt there, but it's knocked out of bounds. It will stay with Liberal. Pass was intended for William Ross, courtesy of Britton Abbott. Ross to inbound from underneath the hoop. And he's got Ozzie Villarreal up top. Scoreless game as Liberal swings it around the top of the key, looking for daylight against the Lansing Lions defense. Loose ball, nearly knocked away by Chris Jones, but once again, Liberal able to retain possession. And now Ross passes it off to Villarreal, working on Clay Young. Jump shot taken by Villarreal for three. No good off the front iron, but a rebound pulled down by Britton Abbott. Now a loose ball taken away by Lucas Mine. Abbott couldn't hang on to it. And Lansing will have their first half-court possession. Just a minute into the game, no score. Ball is with Isaiah Grice. Has the ball fake and defers to Clay Young, who takes it into the paint. Left hand off the glass, no good. Rebound to Chris Jones. Also can't connect on the putback, and it's coming the other way with Liberal. In transition, Liberal puts up the two-point attempt off the backboard. That was William Ross. Can't hit. And here come the Lions once again. Lucas Mine's going to try the three. Can't get it. Rebound to Britton Abbott of Liberal. Here come the Redskins in transition once again. We got a foul, no shot. It's going to be called on Chris Jones of Lansing.
Some early missed shots here by both sides, and it could just be flat-out nerves. Your first minute or two here at the state tournament here, and a couple misses here. Some layups there missed on both sides.
And off the inbounds pass, an uncontested jump shot is no good. And the loose ball now picked up by Lansing. Here comes Isaiah Grice, dumps it off to Jones. Inside, easy deuce for Chris Jones. And Lansing is on the board. The first point scored in the 5A state playoffs in 2012, 2-0 Lions. Now the Redskins look for an answer. They put it into the hands of Devondre Livingston. He can't connect on the jump shot. Little 10-footer from the baseline is no good. Ball is out of bounds and will go to the Lansing Lions.
Liberal just hitting 44% from the floor this year. They are holding opponents to 42.2, but they aren't exactly the best shooting team. The biggest concern for Lansing is Ozzie Villarreal getting hot, and of course the inside play.
Isaiah Grice has it once again at the top of the key, takes a screen from Miller, now dumps it to Miller down low, and got a jump ball. Devondre Livingston got his hand on it. Possession arrow points to Lansing, and they will inbound it from underneath their own basket. First substitution of the game, Eddie Hunt checks in for Mike Miller. And Liberal will counter with a move of their own. In comes Javante Lewis, the 6'4" junior. Mine inbounds from underneath the basket, and they try to get it inside to Hunt. Hunt, an off-balance shot, goes in off the backboard. Eddie Hunt checks into the game and puts up a pair. Lansing leads 4-0. William Ross running the point for Liberal, and they get it inside to Livingston. There's a shot blocked by Jones, no call, and here comes Lansing the other way. Isaiah Grice leading the pack, pulls up for two, and he hits it.
Grice has averaged nearly 22 points in his last 7 games, and we see why. Netting the 18-footer right there.
And they're going to call that a three-pointer.
Make that a 20-footer.
So retroactively, we see that Lansing now has a 7-0 lead. Just about 3 minutes into this game, after about a minute and a half of scoreless basketball, Lansing has scored their last 3 times down the floor.
Citizens National Bank is a family-owned independent financial services organization with a strong commitment to the communities which we serve. Locations with 24-hour ATMs in Leavenworth and Lansing, as well as online banking. Citizens is a proud sponsor of both Leavenworth and Lansing webcasts this season. Citizens National Bank, member FDIC.
7-0 the score here from the Kansas Expo Center. Lansing, the number 1 seed in the 5A state tournament, on top of the 10-12 Liberal Redskins. And the Redskins have had a hard time cracking this tenacious defense of the Lions to this point. Now Villarreal picks up his dribble at half court, nearly had a 5-second call, but able to get rid of it into the hands of B.J. Washington. Now a strip, Clay Young comes on with it. And Lansing has an opportunity to build on their already commanding lead. Ball knocked away on the entry pass to Eddie Hunt. Now open is B.J. Washington, and he'll lay it up for Liberal. And they are on the board, and Washington nearly steals it. And in fact forces a turnover as it goes off of Lucas Mine. So B.J. Washington earning some hustle points there, and he will check out of the game.
That's a spark Liberal needed, having a shutout on the board. They got the quick layup and a quick turnover. Get a bucket here, right back in it.
Andre Jackson and Kinley West into the game for Liberal, and going into the lane is William Ross. He's tripped and fouled. Coach Rod Briggs disagrees with the call, but nevertheless it is a foul. And it goes against Lucas Mine.
We're seeing a little athleticism by Liberal on that steal and the inbounds, and now 2 dribble drives and fouls on both plays here.
Andre Jackson going up against Chris Jones, passes it out, and a jump shot from Ross is no good. And in transition, Isaiah Grice, and one. A nice feed, I believe, from Khalil Bailey on the bounce pass. Isaiah Grice able to finish it, and now he'll have a chance at an old-fashioned three-point play. Grice connects on the free throw, and it's a 10-2 game, Lansing on top. Ross gets it inside to Jackson. Another rejection from Chris Jones. Now they skip it out into the hands of Kinley West. He's working on Grice. Crossover to the left, and he'll take it all the way. A nice move to his left by Kinley West. Cuts the margin to 6. But here comes Lansing. Khalil Bailey wastes no time. Gets to the basket. Can't connect. And Liberal's going to pull it down. Here they come in transition. It's Ross against Eddie Hunt. Can't hit the floater.
And Bailey is limping. Bailey is coming out of the game here.
Khalil Bailey appears to be nursing what appears to be a right knee or thigh injury, and he will check out of the game. Lansing will make a pretty massive substitution. Check in Clay Young, Mike Miller, Joe Schneider.
Talented Joe Schneider comes in, but he's faced injuries all year, and Coach Briggs had hoped just to get some minutes out of him this tournament.
Schneider defending the ball right now, and has passed off to William Ross. Dante Gibson now defending the ball. And Liberal continues to swing on the top of the key. A ball fake, drive inside, shot up, no good. And after a shot at the rebound, Kinley West can't pull it in, and it'll go to Lansing.
Overall, we're seeing a lot of the inside play of Lansing playing out here. It's usually one and done for Liberal, as well as 2 to 3 block shots, having trouble getting shots up, even up on the glass, up on the rim for the Redskins.
Dante Gibson runs the point for the Lions. And in the high post, Clay Young tries to dump it inside to Mike Miller, and Miller's going to draw a foul. Looks like it's on number 31, Andre Jackson.
That is something that the Redskins cannot afford to do, is get their post players into foul trouble against Lansing, who probably will wear them down as the game goes. We'll probably start to see that more in the third and fourth quarter.
And Devondre Livingston checks back in, the leading scorer for Liberal. And an open 3 for Isaiah Grice. Count it.
Grice has had 9 games this year. He's hit 3 or more threes, and he's on his way with 2 already.
He's already got 9 points in this game. And now an open look from the corner for B.J. Washington is no good. Rebound to Clay Young. 13-4. Lansing has the lead and the basketball. It's in the hands of Joe Schneider, who will reset the offense back up top to Gibson. Now Schneider driving, right hand is no good. Schneider found himself unusually open in the paint and almost didn't know what to do with it. Now here comes Liberal. B.J. Washington passes off. Now on the high post, it's Livingston. A shot from the corner on the way is good. And the Redskins really needed that one. They haven't been hitting their jump shots, and that cuts the margin to 6. Dante Gibson with the ball, defended by Kinley West. Now Miller going to take the 18-footer. He hits it. Mike Miller with the smooth stroke makes it a 15-7 game in favor of the Lions.
Mike Miller averaging 6 on the year, but only double digits 4 times this year, but a nice jumper right there.
Now they work it inside to Livingston, who puts up a shot, can't hit, and then commits an over-the-back foul. And that'll even out the team foul situation here with 1:35 left in the first quarter at 3 apiece.
If there's one player Liberal cannot afford to get into foul trouble, it is Livingston with his 16 points and 7.5 rebounds a game. He had 14 points in the sub-state final, 26 in a triple overtime win against Great Bend.
And Isaiah Grice will take a breather on the bench. Javarian Sieg replaces him for Lansing. And Dante Gibson brings it up. Schneider has an opening on the baseline, goes in and draws the foul. Looks like William Ross tried to get there and draw the charge, but was a little bit late.
William Ross, who also goes by Bobo Ross, and Osvaldo, as you've already referenced, Ozzy Villarreal.
A 16-footer for Clay Young, wide open, and he hits it. Clay Young with the jumper, and at this rate, Lansing with their good front court and making those jump shots will be hard to stop. And the Redskins try to push the pace, and it's knocked out of bounds off of Mike Miller of Lansing. Will stay with the Redskins. Backdoor inbounds pass, and the basket is no good. B.J. Washington cannot believe that he missed that shot, and Lansing wastes no time coming the other way and perhaps a bit too hasty as Schneider loses it. 2-on-3 break, but it's stolen back, and Mike Miller in the clear. The big man goes up and can't hit the layup. And now a hard foul. Dante Gibson trailing, never stopped, never gave up on the play. Got the rebound and is fouled on his shot attempt.
Fouls are starting to mount up already for the Redskins. 5 already, team fouls.
17-7, Lansing leads. Gibson at the free throw line, shooting 2. Misses the first. And it seems to me, Chad, that Liberal wants to push the pace when they can, but it hasn't been all that advantageous to them. They've occasionally had lapses where the transition game has actually worked better for Lansing.
Yeah, I think the bigs get back, and even not so the big. I mean, you got Clay Young at 6'4", and some other guys that are long. That they're getting back on defense and causing problems, even when the Redskins do have a fast break.
Second free throw is good from Gibson. 18-7, closing minute of the first quarter. And Britton Abbott has it. He takes it inside, up and under with the right hand, and it rolls in. That ball had some English on it, rolled all the way around the rim until it finally dropped in. It's an 18-9 game. Lansing with the ball should be holding for the last shot here. Although Liberal is applying pressure. Joe Schneider has it just a little bit past the half-court line. And Rod Briggs yelling out a play. Now they put it in the hands of Isaiah Grice. 5 seconds to go. An alley-oop attempt for Grice, rejected. Loose ball and a shot up, not in time from Grice. Shot will not count. Nice athleticism there from William Ross, but nevertheless, Lansing with a commanding lead after 1. Their score is 18-9.
The road to Topeka for Liberal has come, as we discussed, after that 3-11 start, winning 7 out of their next 8. The run started with a triple overtime win, 77-75 against Great Bend. In the sub-state, they won the first game against Newton, 60-47. And in the sub-state final, again, an overtime game, a thriller against Salinas Central, 58-53 in a game that Liberal trailed by 14 early on.
So this team is used to being down, or at least has been down, and understands what it takes to get back into a game. In your estimation, though, what has to change if Liberal's going to cut into this lead and get back into the game?
This wasn't the team you want to get down to. Lansing, of course, 19-3, been here, done that last year. And obviously on paper and probably in reality, the better team, you can't afford to get down by double digits in the first quarter out of the gate. So while they have come back in games before, they've got a sizable mountain early.
And at times, Liberals' half-court offense has been stagnant, but they have been able to get penetration. They just haven't been able to finish at the basket. The Redskins will start out with the basketball, and Devarian Sieg will defend William Ross. Ross gets a step, finds a player on the baseline, but he stepped out of bounds. Ozzie Villarreal at his foot on the line, and it's a turnover. Lansing takes over, and Joe Schneider brings it up, puts it in the hands of Isaiah Grice, and then takes it back. 18-9 is the score. We're just starting the second quarter, first round of the 5A state playoffs from the Kansas Expo Center. A zone defense being applied by the Redskins, and Grice will take it on the baseline. The turnaround jump shot is good, right over the top of Kinley West.
Nice fadeaway in the double digits already for Grice with 11.
11 points for Grice, and 11 points is the lead for the Lansing Lions. Ross finds a teammate, and they find Villarreal down low. Devondre Livingston with a nice look, got it to Villarreal on the backdoor cut. And it's back to a single-digit ball game. 9-point lead for the Lions.
Nice cut by Ozzie, who's normally a three-point shooter. 36 threes on the season, which easily leads the team for the Redskins.
So now the Lions are figuring out, or trying to figure out, how to crack this zone. Joe Schneider with the ball fake gets inside, dumps it off to Chris Jones, who finishes with the layup. Chris Jones adds a pair of points, and once again, it's an 11-point game.
Great interior look by Schneider, who Lansing fans are happy to see back after the back injury. And a miss there by Ozzie. Rebound by Lansing.
Ozzie Villarreal found himself all alone underneath the basket, couldn't complete. And now Isaiah Grice feeling it, going to take the three. Can't hit this time, but rebound by Chris Jones. He has it taken away by William Ross, but they're going to call a foul on Ross. And that, Chad, is the 6th team foul against Liberal. One more, and Lansing is in the bonus.
Yeah, not really the formula there that Coach Gruber had drawn up, getting in foul trouble against a much deeper Lansing team.
Couple of substitutions. Isaiah Grice checks out. Dante Gibson comes back in for Lansing.
$5 foot-long subs are back at Mr. Good Sense. 7 great subs to choose from. Come see what's fresh, what fresh really is at Mr. Good Sense.
Lansing to inbound. They find Chris Jones, who kicks it out. Clay Young, uncontested for the three. Can't hit. Loose ball. Rebound, Joe Schneider of Lansing. So the Lions have extended this possession once again and are taking time off the clock. Try to get it inside to Chris Jones, but it's knocked away, saved in bounds, and Ozzie Villarreal picks it up for Liberal as they'll bring it across the half-court line for the first time in a little while.
Lansing getting some nice minutes here from Gibson and Devarian off the bench, and a foul there by Jones.
Chris Jones already has a couple of blocks in this game, but Devondre Livingston did a good job of getting space there, and Jones had to reach for that one. Ended up getting a piece of the arm of Livingston, and he will go to the free throw line.
On the sidelines, we have a nice, interesting storyline here as Rob Briggs was the coach at free throw there by Livingston, again making it 22 to 11. And Briggs coached at Liberal before coming to Lansing. And the assistant on the sideline for Liberal at the time, Coach Groover. The two are now matching up, pupil versus teacher. The two joked around about it, that they were thought it was a very interesting first-round matchup, Briggs said, and Gruber said that they normally would go behind each other's backs to get coaches' tape, but the two being friends decided they would go ahead and just exchange it straight out.
So a friendly rivalry between these two coaches as Liberal hits both free throws and cuts it down to 2. Joe Schneider goes past the entire defense of the Redskins and puts it up and in to put the lead right back at 11. Now Ross nearly lost it, falls forward as he shoots and misses. And here comes Lansing once again. They put it in the hands of Isaiah Grice, who is in attack mode, but kicks it out to Devarian Sieg with the walk. Tried to fake out the defender and got going a little bit too soon.
Yeah, the two coaches talk 2 or 3 times per week, just casual coaching talk, and Briggs a joke that he may have given too much to Groover on Lansing, but right now it looks like Lansing could have handed over the playbook to Liberal, and it doesn't really matter.
Lansing getting it done in all phases with the jump shot in transition, and with good defense as we see there. Isaiah Grice with the steal. He's all alone. Skies and lays in the basketball. Nice finger roll from Isaiah Grice. And in transition, ball stolen away once again.
Very bad pass there. 1-on-3 he's passing into.
And then Eddie Hunt tries to skip a bounce pass to Devarian Sieg, and it goes out of bounds. A turnover against the line after having stolen it. But they lead 26-13, 4:40 to go in the second quarter.
As you talked about, they have trouble in the transition, and Liberal does, even though they want to run. And right there, as we know from football, it's never wise to pass into triple coverage.
Full court pressure now being applied by Lansing. Liberal able to get it across the timeline, and an errant pass once again goes to the hands of Andre Jackson. Another turnover against the Redskins.
Sitting to our right is Highland Park head coach, and everyone is anticipating possibly a Highland Park Lansing state final, which would be a rematch of the sub-state final last year, in which Lansing won and tripped up the Scots to get to state last year.
Full court pressure now being applied by Liberal, so vis-a-vis between these two coaches, matching each other's wits in a game of chess, but at this point, Lansing on top with a 13-point lead.
Say 2 rooks and a bishop have been already knocked out in that game of chess.
And so down low, an entry pass to Mike Miller. Off balance as he shot it. unable to make the shot, and Liberal coming the other way. It's in the hands of B.J. Washington, who's impeded by Dante Gibson and then puts up a poor shot.
I think Miller might get a block there, but I'm not so certain. The player didn't just throw it off Miller's shoulder.
Now Eddie Hunt takes a few dribbles and has to pick it up. And Isaiah Grice cutting to the basket. And Miller with the rebound off Grice's miss. Now Eddie Hunt pulls it down for Lansing. And we got a foul call. This looks like it will go against Andre Jackson of Liberal.
This is exactly what Groover had feared, the big size of Lansing, especially Eddie Hunt, 6'7", coming off the bench, which towers over any Liberal player. And we're seeing that even though Liberal had a +5 rebound advantage every game in games this season, they are down already. So they're much bigger, much stronger, more experienced Lansing Lions.
Eddie Hunt unable to connect with the free throw, but he'll have another one coming up as they deemed that he was in the act of shooting. Good rotation on the second attempt, but no good, and it's a rebound for Liberal. Kinley West has it, brings it across the timeline. Now it's in the hands of Devondre Livingston. Britton Abbott goes inside, and a charge drawn by Clay Young. Abbott tried to dump it off to Kinley West, but had gone airborne and collided with the chest of Clay Young.
Speaking of Young Sign Company is a family-owned and operated business founded in 1978 by Gene Young. Whether indoor or outdoor signage, design or printing, Young Sign Company has been the staple of quality signage in eastern Kansas. In fact, when A-10 Varsity wanted banners printed, there's only one call to make. Check out Young Sign Company online at youngsigncompany.com or call 913-651-5432.
And so now Lansing's got the basketball, bringing it up. They're working with a 13-point lead. Joe Schneider finds some daylight inside, goes in and draws the foul. And the fouls continue to pile up for Liberal. That is their 9th.
All Lansing fans have to breathe a sigh of relief because Joe Schneider injured his back during football season. Has made a couple attempts to come back during the basketball season, but even last week had a back injury that he's had to recover from. And he's looking mighty fine here early on.
So Schneider toes the line, puts up the first in of the 1-and-1, hits it, and he'll get another. First points we've seen in a couple minutes, and it's the biggest lead of the game for Lansing. Schneider hits them both.
Tracy Lansing photography ad for sharing during. Tracy Lansing Photography provides fun on-site photography for individuals, families, teams, and casual events. Call 913-306-4018 or find on Facebook Tracy Lansing Photography. Mention 810 Varsity and book your first session at half price.
Tight defense being played by Joe Schneider on William Ross. Ross crosses over left side, goes in, pulls up, the jump shot, no good, and a foul on Clay Young. Young used his body to sort of move Javonte Lewis out of the way. So Liberal catches a break, but now they need points. They trail by 15. Backdoor cut once again. This time it's Kinley West connecting on the basket, and we've seen that inbounds play a couple of times. Rod Briggs has won just about every battle, but he's been at least slightly outwitted in that regard by his protege, Drew Groover. Schneider goes in, can't hit the runner, and a rebound pulled down by Devondre Livingston. Redskins on the run. A kick out from Ross, and now he's got it back in his hands. Kinley West comes around the timeline and takes a runner. Can't hit the shot, but he does draw the foul.
A little bit of applause here from the Liberal fans. A small little pack of them here. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lansing has half the stands full. A 6-hour drive from Liberal, 60 minutes from Lansing as he busts in two pep buses in right here on I-70 as I pass him on the way in.
And it looks like we have an offensive foul, a moving screen. And so it's a turnover against Liberal.
Liberal, in fact, last night stayed overnight in Wichita to break up the ride, and Coach Gruber said if they do win, they'll go ahead and maybe take a tour of the state capitol or something, but right now they may be on the return back to the Wichita Hotel.
Although with an effort like that by William Ross, who's able to throw it off of Devarian Sieg, a heads-up play by Ross. We've seen him steal a couple of inbounds passes.
You pretty much get the feeling you're going to see a lot of pressure now from Liberal, down by 13, and they like to use their athleticism. Three-pointer by Ozzie, missing, Miller with a rebound. Villarreal
tried the three. You mentioned that he's leading the Redskins in the three-point category with 36 made field goals on the season from beyond the arc, but none so far today. Now, an errant pass is nearly stolen. Ross goes into his own bench.
Villarreal has cranked over 100 three-pointers. He's made 34.3%. The 36 made leads the team. Washington and Ross have 12 and 11 after that. So he is definitely the three-point shooter, their marksman on the team.
28-15, Lansing leads. A minute 40 to go in the first half. Young finds Miller inside. Miller with the right hand gets the basket, and once again Lansing has a 15-point lead. And in transition, Devondre Livingston answers right back with a basket of his own, give the assist to William Ross. 30-17, a minute 20 to go. And Liberal doing their best to hang, but perhaps got down a little bit too early in this game. And now a missed shot, but a rebound to Isaiah Grice, and Grice finishes. Once again, it's a 15-point game, but here comes Ross to Livingston again, and he's fouled by Clay Young with a minute 3 to go in the first half.
This is something that, of course, Gruber didn't want to see. Grice getting hot. Like I said, he had 21.7 points in his last 7 games. Takes over 11 shots for the Lions average per game. And he has come out smoking hot here with, 15 points here by halftime. Sorry, I do some math real fast.
It would be hard to do math like that the way Isaiah Grice is scoring the basketball.
Thanks for picking me up there.
Need a NASA physicist or mathematician to help us out on that one. First free throw is good for Livingston, and he makes the second as well. It's back down to a 13-point game. We've seen this ebb and flow between these two teams in the last few minutes, but Liberal unable to overcome the 13-point deficit. Under a minute to go, and the ball is controlled by Lansing. Dante Gibson passes to Clay Young, and we got a foul called. Kinley West attacking the basketball. And by proxy, running into Clay Young.
They were seeing a half-court trap there by Liberal, and that they're going to have to do some scrambling, some full-court pressure, half-court trapping to get back in this game. But unfortunately, again, another foul for the Redskins. Now into the double bonus, Lansing actually is with 10 fouls on Liberal.
And that is the third foul on Kinley West, so he will be checking out here in just a moment, we assume. And indeed, here comes B.J. Washington.
Clay Young, one of the third generation to play for Lansing here. The grandfather played on the 1951 title runner-up team. And Father Tom Young, we will be talking here in a little bit at halftime, and Clay hopefully is going to make a run to the state title game himself.
Young able to hit the first free throw, misses the second. 33-18 is the score, 45 seconds left in the first half. Ball knocked out of bounds by Schneider, but it will stay with the Liberal Redskins.
Talk about Lansing State history. They have been to the state tournament 3 times before Rob Briggs came to Lansing. Under Briggs, three state tournaments in the last 4. He has matched Lansing's history already in just 4 years.
And a reach-in foul committed by Devarian Sieg will send William Ross to the line for the Redskins.
Across the street, across the nation, locally owned Century Van Lines provides professional moving and storage services. Whether you are moving your home, your office, or college student, we can help. Call Century Van Line, 651-3600 on the missed free throw rebound. I thought it was a 2-shotter from the board up there, but it's a 1-on-1.
And Javante Lewis able to put it in and score the basket. cutting the lead down to 13. 30 seconds to go. Mike Miller dribbles it up top and now passes off to Eddie Hunt, who hands it off to Joe Schneider. Lansing will presumably try to hold the last shot, but they are currently being pressured with defense from Liberal. As we approach 10 seconds left to go, the ball is in the hands of Joe Schneider. Ball knocked away for a moment, loose on the floor, but is picked up by Grice, who gives it to Miller with the long jump shot, and Mike Miller hits it. And the last second heave for Liberal is all for naught, as Mike Miller sends Lansing into the half with a 36-20 lead over the Liberal Redskins.
When your 6'5" senior center hits a three-pointer at the half, you know it's your half. It's a great start to the state tournament.
A great start indeed for the number 1 seed Lansing Lions, making their return to the state tournament and, of course, eyeing that championship game. But first they'll have to play another half against the Liberal Redskins coming up here in just a little bit.
Dr. Max Frimmer has been Lansing's answer for chiropractic needs for decades. Whether it's back pain, carpal tunnel, or headache relief, or you have pains after a car accident, Frimmer Chiropractic is your answer. Call 913-651-DISC or visit drmaxdc.com. That's DOCTOR maxdc.com.
So at this point, in your estimation, Chad, obviously we've seen great contributions from Isaiah Grice. But looking past that, what's been the most important thing for Lansing? Has it been the front court play because they've been, really pulling down a lot of offensive rebounds, or has it been the effort on the defensive end?
Well, you can just go up and down the line and pretty much just check all. The front court continues to get offensive rebounds. It's usually one and done for the Redskins on their end of the floor when they shoot. And the backcourt has handled the pressure attempts by the Redskins. They've tried full court press. They tried half court. A couple times they got a turnover, but for the most part, Lansing breaks it. Sometimes even gets easy transition buckets. So top to bottom, all sides of the play there for Lansing. It's been as good a half as you can ask for the Lions.
I'll tell you, I was impressed by Chris Jones down low, especially on the defensive end. We know that Devondre Livingston is the leading scorer and the leading rebounder for this Redskin team, but he's been pretty much shut out with the exception of an easy basket down low and a couple of free throws. He hasn't been able to get going. He's had a couple of shots rejected. So I think what Chris Jones has been able to do on the defensive end has been invaluable to this team.
Yeah, and then for Livingston, it's a lot of fits. You go up against Jones, you see Miller, you've got off the bench, here comes in a 6'7" sophomore, not to mention Clay Young down there 6'4". That just waves of trees right now for Liberal to go in. And they got body strength that you got to go in against a really big guy, not just a lean guy inside, but big power and strength.
And so glancing over the halftime numbers, you can tell you that Devondre Livingston has 5 points, just 1 of 5 from the field though. And struggling so far for Liberal has been Ozzy Villarreal. He's got a basket, but he's 0 for 2 from three-point land, and he's turned the ball over 3 times. So some struggles in that regard. And also one thing we'll have to monitor throughout the second half is the foul situation, as both Andre Jackson, a reserve forward, and Kinley West, who is actually the leading scorer with 7 points, have 3 fouls apiece for Liberal.
Yeah, right out of the gates, Lansing connecting on 50% in the first half, 30.8% for Liberal. So right now we're going to have a halftime guest, and I think my sidekick Ian will take a little breather here as we recite off the Lions Den and talk to Tom Young.
Yeah.
We're actually going to turn this over to Brian Reese. He's going to read off the Lions Den. Well, first of all, we'll talk with Tom Young. Good to see you.
How you doing?
Good to see you. Last time I keep seeing you is usually in our alumni tournaments, and it's been no fun going up against you. I kind of feel like Liberal, go up against the big trees. You run into you, and then you come out with a bruise, and you just stand there looking at you like, oh, I didn't feel anything. So.
Well, when you're 53, it makes a big difference too.
Well, I'm referring to 10 years ago. I remember going up against you guys. It was just brutal. So I can't imagine going up against you in your younger years, and I guess that's what we're kind of talking about here. Obviously, great to see Clay out here and coming down and going to the state tournament. I guess as a father, then how's that for you to see him out there?
Oh, it's great. I was talking to Rick Schneider, who's Joe's dad. when they were both in 3rd and 4th grade, Joe Manthe came up to us and he said, I want to start a traveling team. And I think at that time, Rick and I just kind of pictured this would be the final outcome, making it to the state tournament when they made it in high school. So it's kind of nice to be able to see it come to fruition now.
And I believe your dad, is that right? Was he on the
my uncle.
Uncle, okay.
Yeah, my dad played. He graduated in 46, and then my uncle graduated in 50. And in 49 and 50, that was the first years that Lansing went to state. My dad coached that team when they were in grade school, and I remember he'd line them up when they were like 5th and 6th grade, and he said, you guys are going to go to state when you get into high school. And I think he's the one who planted the seed that was possible, because before that time, nobody in Leavenworth County had ever made it to the state level in basketball. So they had some of the best scorers in Lansing history with Don McQuillan and Bill Young and Wayne and Charlie Seymour.
Yeah, it's been nice to see that same names continue to regurgitate. Obviously, you and Mark McQuillan had some nice years there. Weren't able to make the state trip, but sure enough, Caleb and Clay here have come back to it the last couple of years. And I guess for everyone in Lansing, I guess, we've had 3 state trips in like 50 plus years. And now we've had 3 in the last 4 years. I guess how is it being a Lansing fan to be watching?
Well, it's nice to have a program starting, with Rod Briggs getting here. He's got them starting at an early level to where, in 5th and 6th grade, they're all starting to run the same plays, and getting his program makes a big difference, as opposed to, having a lot of coaches turnover. And it's proven that, hard work and dedication is going to get you here.
Yeah. And, of course, Young Sign Company has made looks pretty lonesome up there above the scoreboard, but our banner, the 810varsity.com banners, as we got quite a few from you guys. So,
yeah, we need to make you a bigger one for places like this.
Yeah, we didn't know that. Yeah, when you get into a gym like Leavenworth and Lansing, it's just fine. We get here, it's pretty much looks like a little speck up there, but we'll take it. It's right above the scoreboard. Good job by Brian Reese to hang that up. So. And, yeah, you're part of the Lions Den, which we just started recently, and we're going to get to that in a second with Brian. But, yeah, everybody got to contribute this year, and you guys did too, so thanks a lot for that.
Well, glad to do it. We have a lot of relatives that are listening.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to go check how many people we had watching. So, anyway, thanks a lot for coming down during half. Looks like, I guess, last question, of course, you can't ask for a better first half here to state. And if there's ever any question or jitters, I don't think that looks to be a problem at all.
Yep, we're stepping up real well. So.
All right, well, we'll see you throughout here this week. Hopefully, maybe on Saturday as well. Well, we can win this one. Up by 16, we should.
We'll take it one game at a time,
yeah,
and don't take anybody for granted at this level.
All right, and thanks a lot again. So.
All right, thank you.
Now we have Brian Reese stepping up to the microphone here. With Brian, we have the Lions Den. We're going to lead off all the contributors at half. Right now with Brian and all the Lions Den, we had businesses step up a contribution per game, and we had individuals who stepped up for $20 a game, part of the Lions Den, and we have quite a list of names that Brian is going to read off for everybody.
Yeah, Chad, thanks a lot for everything you do. I think everybody at Lansing appreciates everything you do, and everybody all around the city, KC Metro, appreciates everything that you do. And I just want to thank you for taking the time, putting in the effort to bring us this great broadcast that we can watch.
Hopefully you got a great state run here, so go ahead.
Okay, so let's go ahead. Lions Den members are starting off Damon Heiniger, Rich and Lori Holden, Brian Harris, Gordon and Lois Minot, Reese and Nichols, Adair Place Child Center, Tom and Andy Pulowski, Stacy Klingsley, co-owner of Green Leaf Nutrition, Linda Schoenfelder, Keller Williams Legacy Partners, Linda Larison, a supporter of local athletics, Jody Knapp, Realtor, Coldwell Banker Riley & Sons, Sally Estes, Realtor, Coldwell Banker Riley & Sons, Dave Teal, Realtor, Coldwell Banker Riley & Sons, Brian and Lisa Reese, Realtors at Coldwell Banker Riley & Sons, Dr. Jolie Crow, Tom and Teresa Young, Tim Lee, Lee Kahn and Casey Shirley, Farm Bureau Financial, the Dan Wilcott Agency, Karen Clark, mortgage banker at the Federal Savings Bank, Ben and Hillary Anderson at Leavenworth Rentals, Riley Insurance, Calvin and Marlene Grafe, Trent Schneider, Schneider Home Inspections, Jake Rexroad at American Lawn and Fence, Tricia Mills, Jason Colleen, Colleen Concrete, Bob and Anna Van, Sharon Wasserman Green, the Bolesky family, Lowell and Judy Hurt, Brian and Christina Dudley, Tailgate Road, the Trent Peter Agency at American Family Insurance, and Chad Rader, 810varsity.com. That's our Lions Den. Thank you very much for your support. I'll give it back to the guys.
All right, thank you very much. And that was the Lions Den, which has helped support this broadcast and throughout the state tournament, and we hope to continue as we did during football and basketball, but carry the Lions Den over into the 2012 and 13 season, which should be a promising year as Lansing has a slew of sophomores and juniors coming back on the basketball team. We've got just a few seconds here left until the second half starts. I'll be turning over back to my partner, Ian McLean. Did I get that right?
You did.
All right, good job. I know most people want to say McLean, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a good thing that you got that right.
Yeah, most people also say radar too, so we both have the same problems with mispronunciation. So anyway, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you, Chad. So we're just about ready to start the second half. In fact, we are ready as Clay Young comes to the near sideline to inbound. And he finds Lucas Mine. Mine saw limited action in the first half.
That's the thing about Lansing. Doesn't have to have a couple guys step up. They have so many guys that can come in off the bench and light up for 10, 15 points in any game.
And this time it's Clay Young going inside using the backboard and scoring 2 points, extending the Lansing lead to a game-high 18 points. Villarreal thought about the three in the corner, but now he dribbles it back up top. And now Lansing with a 2-3 zone of their own. And here comes Isaiah Grice, who throws it down. Isaiah Grice with the slam dunk, and Lansing leads 40-20. Now in transition, the Redskins try to get something going, but they missed the shot, and Mike Miller pulls it down. Now a reach-in foul by a frustrated William Ross.
Yeah, this isn't exactly the start or road trip you want to take, especially that far from Liberal. And I'm sure we'll see some frustration fouls and some other stuff here in the second half for the Redskins, and probably understandable.
Clay Young will bring the ball up the court for Lansing. He goes to his right and pulls out. And now it's in the hands of Isaiah Grice, who pump fakes. Dumps it inside to Chris Jones. Right hand, left side, no good. And it will stay with the Lions. Out of bounds off Liberal. Clay Young to inbound. It's a 20-point lead for Lansing. Just moments into the second half. And now they'll just weave around the top of the key. They get it baseline to Grice, who drives, puts up the shot, can't hit, and now it's a loose ball, but a reach-in foul on Clay Young. And that is the third foul on Young.
Well, it's a big deficit, but if there's any way to get back into it for Liberal, it could be from the charity stripe. Only one team foul so far for Lansing, but hey, you got to try where you can.
So despite the fact that he has 3 fouls, Clay Young is still on the floor, and now an errant pass goes over the head of Britton Abbott. It'll be a turnover on B.J. Washington. And Liberal trying to stretch the floor and stretch the defense of Lansing, having trouble completing those longer passes. Now Lucas Mine has some pressure and able to draw the foul. He was losing his balance, but they call the push foul on B.J. Washington.
And as Lansing, you don't want to see bodies go to the floor. You know, Bailey is already out of the game. I don't know if he'll return with such a sizable lead here. We already talked about Joe Schneider's injuries history all year, and we saw bodies to the floor. Grice with another 3 missing. But yeah, Lansing, of course, if anything, doesn't want to see anyone else getting hurt.
And a pull-up jump shot from Ross, and he hits it. William Ross has been really one of the more bright spots in this game for the Redskins, both on the defensive end and now on offense. Cuts the lead down to 18. Entry pass to Chris Jones, and he's fouled. This one's going to go against Kinley West, and that is number 4. Kinley West, the leading scorer of this game with 7. Leading scorer for the Redskins, that is, and he will have to take a seat on the bench. And we're just only 2 minutes into the second half. Britton Abbott will also check out. Eddie Hunt into the game. He's got the basketball. Near the baseline, knocked away on a pass, though, and B.J. Washington all alone can't hit the layup. B.J. Washington misses another close shot, and here comes Isaiah Grice. Can't connect, and Jones can't get the putback. So both teams living in transition right now. Here comes Ross once again. Corner, Villarreal for 3. No good off the top of the backboard. And Ross going to try a 3 of his own, and he hits. William Ross with a tray there, and he has all 5 of the Redskins' points here in the second half.
Not something you want to see here as Coach Briggs and the Lansing staff. I mean, it's down to 15, but, you know, we talked about earlier how Liberal has come back in some games. Down 14 in that sub-state final, and they came back to force overtime and win. And here they are, down by 15. Still a huge mountain to climb, but, you know, the mountain's starting to look a little bit shorter here for the Redskins.
So William Ross was scoreless in the first half, despite being a presence on the defensive end, but he's already got a couple of baskets here, including a 3-pointer. And with Kinley West out of the game for Liberal, it's going to be imperative that Ross continues to take and, more importantly, make his shots if they're going to have a chance of getting back into this game.
Score from a Class 1A, Bishop Seabury out of Lawrence is now taking a 39-28 lead, and having gone to school with head coach Ashley Battles, another former Jayhawk, Seabury looks to advance into the second round, as do the Lions.
And the Lions right now facing some pressure from the Redskins as they need to get it across half court, and they finally do. Isaiah Grice left alone, and he takes the 3, can't hit, short. And here come the Redskins after the rebound by Villarreal. Down low, Livingston could not handle the pass.
So many times we've seen the Redskins here. They've missed 3 or 4 layups here, and that was an easy backdoor that if they could have hit them, it would have been cut this lead down to 13.
And Devondre Livingston, a look of frustration. Now a 2-on-1 break. Jones with the bounce pass from Grice, can't hit the shot. Villarreal with the basketball once again. He'll give it to William Ross, and here come the Redskins. Ross into the paint, floater up, no good. Rebound, Chris Jones.
Speaking of missed layups, Lansing has now missed 2 on their own, which is something you can't do, especially when you hold on to a big lead.
And Grice thought about the 3, tried to dribble inside, instead dumps it off, and now Eddie Hunt's got it. He'll go up with the right hand, no good.
Hunt's got to take a little stronger there, 6'7", just take it right on up. Instead he played off the backboard and got it kind of blocked and tipped there.
A 15-point game. Both teams have had chances at the basket here in the last minute or so, but neither has been able to convert. Now Ross tries to get inside, but it's knocked away. He gets it back into his hands. Now they get it to Livingston from the baseline. The jump shot is good. So a little 7-0 run for Liberal, and they've cut the lead down to 13.
That's exactly not what you want from on the Lansing side. Liberal fans are getting a little excited, down by 13, right? Kind of getting back into it here.
Clay Young poised to check in along with Mike Miller at the next dead ball. But for now, that ball is in the hands of Isaiah Grice. He goes baseline, puts it up. No good. Rebound. Still loose, goes out of bounds, and it's Liberal basketball.
For any girls basketball fans in the Kansas City area, Olathe Northwest at the half, the Ravens lead 27-18 over Wichita South in the 6A tournament.
William Ross gets it across midcourt. Now baseline shot up by Kinley West back into the game with 4 fouls. Had contact, no call either way. And here comes Clay Young. Young gets it in the paint, dumps it off to Mike Miller. And Miller with a great finish. Mike Miller has been efficient from the field so far today.
9 points for the big man. And Miller only has double digits 4 times this year, so this is a big contribution to get that from the senior.
And it stops the 7-0 run that Liberal had been on, but they're going to try a 3 from the corner. Actually, it gets out of the hands of B.J. Washington. He's had a rough go of it. He's had some opportunities, but just like he did there, has had the ball slip out of his hands. Now a foul down low.
Danny Zeck Ford has been a fixture in Leavenworth County for decades. Derek and Dustin Zeck are the third generation of Zecks serving Leavenworth and Kansas City car shoppers. At Zeck Ford in Leavenworth, Kansas, they not only believe in treating every customer special, they've practiced it as well. The goal is to make you feel comfortable while you're purchasing your new or pre-owned vehicle. Stop by anytime at 4501 Main Street or call 800-394-1650. And, of course, shop the inventory online 24/7 at dzford.com.
And Mike Miller once again gets good position off the inbounds pass. Credit the assist to Chris Jones. And Miller now in double digits. Coming the other way is Ross, who can't hit the shot, but it's knocked out of bounds by the Lions. Will stay with Liberal. (44-27), 2 minutes, 22 seconds to go in the third quarter in the first round of the 5A state playoffs. Britton Abbott goes up strong with it, has it rejected by Lucas Mine, of all people, the shortest man on the floor. But they say that he got a piece of the arm, and that'll send Britton Abbott to the free throw line.
Lansing holds a 29-22 rebounding edge over the Redskins here, and we keep seeing that, although Liberal got back in it there with a board. But Mike Miller has been just a big presence inside with his 11 points and 3 boards, but seems to cause a lot more chaos for the Redskins inside.
Abbott missed the first of 2, makes the second. It's a 16-point game. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third quarter. Mike Miller dribbling with some tenacity up the floor, but now dishes it back out to Schneider. Mine with the ball fake, goes inside baseline and gets the basket. Lucas Mine lays it up and in, and it's back to an 18-point game.
Lansing has been staying aggressive here, especially against the press, and looking to score against and not just getting the ball across, and Mine finishes there.
Ball in the hands of Villarreal. He swings it over to Britton Abbott. Now down low, backdoor cut rejected by Chris Jones. And here comes Lucas Mine. Bounce pass intercepted by Abbott. A turnover now, a long errant pass. An over-the-shoulder catch by Chris Jones, who then promptly turns it back over to Villarreal. So 4 turnovers in a matter of 5 seconds, and a long 3 by Villarreal is no good. Rebound Abbott can't get the putback. And here comes Clay Young, one-on-one, puts it up and can't hit the layup. Interesting few moments of basketball. William Ross puts up the shot, can't hit it either. And we're coming back the other way, a bit of a yo-yo game here at this point. Joe Schneider goes up and one. Joe Schneider draws the foul and puts it up and in off the glass, making it a 48-28 game and a chance to give Lansing its biggest lead of 21.
We just signaled over the local paramedics for the oxygen for you after that back and forth exchange on about 5 possessions there. That was pretty frenzy there, but Schneider here for 2. And Schneider, like I said, I think all Lansing fans are really excited to see him get these minutes here. I don't have an exact count on the minutes, but he's got to be approaching 15 minutes already played here in this game and has played aggressively. He doesn't play tentatively with his back or anything. Has taken the shots inside, including that foul net, as he tries the free throw for the 3-point play, and up and good.
So a 21-point game, 49-28. And that will bring in Devarian Sieg for Lansing. He'll defend Ross as Ross attempts to bring it across the midcourt line for Liberal. Under a minute to go. And a jump shot now from Livingston is too strong, no good, and rebound to Lansing.
Saw a near hack there after the free throw there, and Liberal definitely in a desperation mode, trying the presses and even some hacks after the misses 90 feet away from the basket.
About 30 seconds to go, and Lansing has it in the face of some pretty significant pressure. And now Villarreal comes up with the turnover, but knocked out of bounds from behind by Dante Gibson. It was Clay Young who initially had it poked away by Britton Abbott. So it will be Liberal basketball with 23.4 seconds to go. They trailed by 16 at the half, and despite going on a 7-0 run to begin this quarter, have since been outscored 1-13. .15 ticks to go, and the Redskins will play for the last shot. William Ross being hedged off by Isaiah Grice. Now he tries to take it inside, spin move, shot up, no good. Rebound, Bavarian Sieg, contact, but they'll just let the clock run out as it does. And at the end of the third quarter, Lansing leads Liberal 49-28 and is 1 quarter away from moving on to the semifinals of the state tournament.
Corrections Corporation of America is proud to support Lansing Lions webcast. CCA is America's leader in partnership corrections, operating over 60 facilities in nearly half of all states. Learn more about CCA job opportunities at ccajob.com, or you can apply for a rewarding position as a correctional officer, a nurse, or a teacher, just to name a few. Your next career could be in corrections with CCA. Visit ccajob.com today. That's ccajob.com.
Had to have been a disappointing third quarter for Liberal, not just because they are down more than they were at the half, but because they did start out pretty well, cutting the lead down to 13, but since that point, they just had one free throw made by Britton Abbott, and that was the rest of the scoring they did in the last 5.5 minutes of that third quarter.
Yeah, they scrambled around on defense, got Lansing a little bit out of whack, missed a couple layups there, Lansing did, but unfortunately for Liberal, they kind of got in that zone of making Lansing a little uncomfortable at 13. They just couldn't hit a three there in the corner. Then Ozzie missed his, and now the lead has quickly got out of hand again, back at 21.
Liberal, 8 minutes away from being eliminated, will inbound the basketball. Abbott finds Ross, and Ross takes a shot from the free throw line, but it's blocked by Chris Jones. Now here come the Lions in transition. Bounce pass from Schneider to Jones. No good. Hunt taps it around, but it goes out of bounds. Devondre Livingston wanted an over-the-back call against Eddie Hunt. But instead, it'll just be Liberal basketball as it's inbounded by Javante Lewis. Now stolen away, Isaiah Grice, and Isaiah Grice was ready to throw one down again in the open court, but he's fouled by William Ross.
I like to go by his nickname, Bobo Ross. That just sounds a little more fun.
Bobo Ross it is. Bobo committing the foul.
That's what I was told by Coach, so you got to go with what the coach says. And for anyone listening to Liberal, I'm not trying to make fun of it. I just want to be accurate.
And Mr. Bobo Ross will take a seat on the bench after picking up that foul. And it's just the 6th team foul, so the bonus is forthcoming for the Lansing Lions. Mine defended by Villarreal, takes a screen from Chris Jones. Schneider thought about taking the tray, but instead kicks it out. Grice will now force the issue, and Mine will take the three. No good. Rebound goes to Liberal. Kinley West, who has 4 fouls, crosses over to his left, gets inside. Livingston contested, blocked shot by Chris Jones. Livingston couldn't handle that one cleanly and therefore had to wait a moment. Gave Jones time to get position. Now Grice takes it into the paint, can't hit. Eddie Hunt loses it, but we got a foul called on Devondre Livingston, and that will send Eddie Hunt to the free throw line. 6:50 to go in the fourth quarter. A scoreless fourth quarter. We're still at 49-28 in favor of the Lansing Lions in white and red trim.
This is the 12th game that Chris Jones has had over 2 blocks. In fact, I think he's at 5, which matches his season high against Free State and at Basel Linwood. 5 blocks for Chris Jones.
And a missed free throw by Eddie Hunt will get the ball into the hands of the Redskins. They get it inside to Livingston, who has a shot blocked, but this time he was fouled. This is Isaiah Grice picking up the foul. And Devondre will go to the free throw line.
The road to Topeka here for Lansing started on Sub-State with a first round win over Topeka West, 74-55. Then they came back and played Washington, who beat the Lions last year in the semifinals. Lansing gets revenge, 64-54 in a Sub-State final, and they could get revenge on Aquinas, who got them in the third place game last year, and they may play them in the semifinal if Aquinas wins. 2 free throws there by Livingston, cut the lead down to 19.
And that next game, of course, will be determined who will play the winner of this game, which at this point we will assume will be the Lansing Lions between Coppin Mount Carmel and, as you mentioned, St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah, and Aquinas did win that game in the third place game last year, 47-34. So Lansing does look to get some revenge there. Schneider, nice baseline drive.
Right hand up and in for Joe Schneider. It's now a 21-point game once again. Lucas Mine wanting more, going for the steal. And he knocks it out of bounds. It will stay with the Redskins.
Gruber looking disappointed there, barking some orders at Andre Jackson, who's going to come out of the game. Gruber very displeased with what Jackson did there as he grabbed some bench.
B.J. Washington will inbound for the Redskins. He finds Bobo Ross back into the game. Washington with the ball fake, goes up from 16, can't hit, too strong. And an over-the-back foul committed by number 34, Javante Lewis.
Need storage space? Need to rent a U-Haul truck? The Storage Box is the answer. From storage services to truck renting to packing supplies, Storage Box has been providing exceptional service for more than 35 years with 3 locations, and they also ship packages all over the country at the Leavenworth Shipping Depot. Visit Storage Box at storageboxinc.com or call them today at 913-727-1236.
Biggest lead of the game for Lansing after Joe Schneider converts the front end of the 1-and-1. And he will get one more. It's good, and it's now a 53-30 lead for Lansing. And they're just 6 minutes and 3 seconds away from a berth in the semifinals where they were last year and a possible rematch with St. Thomas Aquinas, depending on what they do in this next game here at the Kansas Expo Center. Now, an errant pass from B.J. Washington goes off the fingertips of Devondre Livingston, and that sort of epitomizes the entire game for Liberal. They've had their moments, but at other times the balls just slip through their fingers, metaphorically and literally. So the Lions have it. Schneider dribbles around and finds Clay Young. A pass nearly taken away, but Isaiah Grice controls it. As the Lions look to burn some clock here in the last quarter. Ball knocked out of bounds. Will stay with Lansing as Dante Gibson, the sophomore, checks into the game for Clay Young.
Regardless of the opponent, you'll be able to watch that semifinal game here on 810varsity.com at 4:45 on Friday. Also later tonight, you'll be able to watch Harmon versus number 2 Highland Park at 8:15 tonight right here on 810varsity.com.
And now a foul down low. Joe Schneider drawing the contact will take another trip to the free throw line. Schneider just hit a pair of free throws moments ago. It's a 1-and-1 shooting situation. Schneider was not in the act of shooting. Can't make it. And the rebound pulled down by Kinley West. 23-point deficit facing the Redskins right now. 5 minutes to go here in this game. They get it in the hands of Livingston, who goes in, kicks it out to West. West thought about taking the contested 3, but now they get it back inside to Livingston, working on Chris Jones. Jones was pretty straight up there, but called for the foul, so Livingston will get a trip to the free throw line.
Unfortunately for Drew Groover, he looks to finish the season here at 10-13 in 2011 and 12. And prior seasons in his 5 years with the Redskins, 9-12 last year, 11-10, 17-6 in 2008 and 2009. In his first year, 2007 and 8, he was 19-4, 3 state trips underneath his belt in just 5 years at Liberal.
Livingston makes that free throw. And now full court pressure being applied. Lansing does just get it across into the hands of Isaiah Grice as he is trapped near midcourt. Lucas Mine had the open look, but they're more content with burning clock unless they get it that close to the basket like they did that time, courtesy of Mike Miller and Lucas Mine. Miller completes the basket, and the lead is back up to 24. And a three-pointer on the way, and good. Kinley West gets the friendly bounce from the rim there. And a timeout call by Lansing coach Rod Briggs.
Since arriving from Liberal, Rod Briggs has piled up 90 wins, make that 91. We'll go ahead and put this one in the books. 91-34 at Lansing. 20-3 this year. And a state trip, of course, as we're seeing right now. Last year we spoke of the fourth place finish at 18-6, 11-10, 19-4 in 2008 and 9, and a first round loss to Salina Central here at the state tournament. So a very successful campaign stint here at Lansing for Briggs, who previously coached at Liberal for 4 years, Parsons for 3, and Ulysses is for 4. But he is happy to move to Lansing. As he said, he was looking for a place for his family to live and wanted to be around the Kansas City area. Lansing opened up. He thought it was a no-brainer, and it looks like a no-brainer for both ends, as Lansing fans can only be pleased by Briggs' stint here at Lansing. Lansing, like I said before, only 3 state trips before Briggs, 3 since then in the last 4 years. So Briggs has matched Lansing's history, and with a pile of sophomores and juniors, we may see them back here, maybe sitting right back here next year at the end.
So Rod Briggs clearly already cemented himself as a very beloved coach at Lansing with those 3 state trips you spoke of in just 4 years. This year included, of course, and this year a lot of people think they've got a good shot at winning it all. And they get it across midcourt in the hands of Mike Miller, who's been money all game. Miller's got it again, but they're going to say he traveled this time, not expecting the pass from Clay Young. Smile on the face of the big man as for once he did something wrong.
We heard our halftime guest, Tom Young, talk about the 1950-51 title appearance team by the Lansing Lions. And we also had a state appearance in the early 2000s underneath Don Allen.
Long three from Villarreal, no good. Rebound to Mike Miller. Miller's going to dribble out himself and has it knocked away, but into the hands of Isaiah Grice all alone, and with the layup, Isaiah Grice knows how to finish that one. Kinley West was in some hot pursuit there, but with 4 fouls, declined to go up and really challenge the basketball. Now inside, a foul going to be called on Miller as Javante Lewis took it up. It'll be a shooting foul, 57-34, 3:25 to go here in the fourth quarter. Lansing is poised to move into the semifinal round.
Yeah, something they've only done, this will be their 3rd time in state history. The other appearance was 1990, as I was buried on the bench that year. We faced the returning champ Nickerson, and down by 1 at the end of the 3rd quarter. Nickerson just got on a run, got in some foul trouble with the likes of Lansing Lions, Charlie Sexton, and Jason Burke, Larry Munger, David Babcock, and yeah, I'm playing a little Billy Packer history here, but anyway, Nickerson had John Onch as a point guard on their team, who later played for the Oklahoma Sooners and started for 2 years underneath Kelvin Sampson.
Some fun history there from Chad Rader. Thank you very much, Chad.
I'm done. I've emptied all my rounds. I'm done now. The gun is now going to click.
Are you sure? We've still got 3 minutes left in this game.
I know. I'm trying to stall here to give us some filler, but we'll go ahead and speak about the game here as Miller gets fouled on his way up and is going to shoot 2 here at the line.
Miller found himself so wide open there, it took him a second to realize what was going on, and in that time the defender is able to close, but Miller goes up strong, draws the foul, and an opportunity to extend the Lansing lead and pad his own stats. Miller, presumably with over 15 points.
Yeah, I'm going to try to check on that right now on our real-time stats. You're right, if he makes this bucket, he will have 15, which will be a season high.
And he does. Yep. So that can only be a boon, a good thing to Lansing's chances of winning the state championship when guys like Mike Miller are not only playing their roles but are actually becoming stars on the team. Miller with 15 points.
And following him is Joe Schneider with 11. Of course, Grice leading all scorers in this game with 19. And speaking of Grice, here he comes with the ball.
A nice feed up ahead to Sieg, who couldn't handle it, but Grice has 19. He had 9 in the first 3 minutes of the game. So really, he could have gone for 30 or more, but the game is not necessarily dictated that he go off, especially here in the second half. They get it down low to Clay Young. Young turns to his left and puts it up and in. 61-34, largest lead of the game at 27. Long three on the way from B.J. Washington. And a frustration foul over the back on Ozzy Villarreal.
Young now with 7 points. He gets a chance to improve on his total with some free throws right now. I believe it'll be the double bonus for Lansing here for Young.
Indeed, it will be a double bonus situation.
Young's only had 3 games in double-digit scoring this year, but the highlight was the 16 points against Bonner Springs, which you witnessed yourself, Ian, the double overtime thriller, as he ran off like 8 straight points, including a three-pointer to force the first overtime on a mad comeback by the Lions.
An uncharacteristic game for Isaiah Grice, as he was sort of shut down and also simply wasn't making his shots, as Clay Young makes both free throws. And Clay Young to the rescue in that game, especially late, as you mentioned, in regulation and overtime. At the end of those periods, he was able to score a couple of big baskets for Lansing and propel them to victory.
Now, you've seen a lot of Lansing games, a few, I guess, for 810varsity.com, but I believe you have actually called 2 losses, 2 of the 3. Is this correct? The Baser and the Blue Valley Southwest game, Ian?
Yeah, that is correct. I could be a bad luck charm, although they're disproving that theory today, as Oscar Villarreal misses that 3.
Yeah, Villarreal came in. They need to hit some threes from him, and he does not even, I don't think, just checking this, yeah, he has not drawn the bottom of the net from three-pointers 0 for 6 today, and that was really a key for Liberal, and just a tough day here for Ozzy.
It's a 29-point game as Liberal trying to put up three-pointers, but to no avail, and Lansing just methodically working through their half-court offense, finding the easy basket. They've got a shot up now from Grice, which is no good. Rebound to Devondre Livingston. And here comes Bobo Ross.
Another first-round game. Bishop Carroll will play Goddard in the first-round game here at 6:30. All brackets will be updated, of course, on 810varsity.com.
Bobo Ross thought about going inside, instead dumps it off to Devondre Livingston with the right hand, and the basketball gets stuck between the backboard and the rim, and a foul is called on Clay Young. That's number 4 on Young.
That ball getting stuck in the rim there, guys like Brian Reese. There are a couple of us that had to go get a broomstick, but of course, Grice no problem jumping up and grabbing it.
Devondre Livingston has been making a living, dare I say, at the line. He's been there a couple of times here in the second half, and now at the scorer's table, we're going to see a wealth of youth come into the game for Liberal.
Daniel Frazier checks in, as well as Trent Hammond for the Redskins. And we're still checking on the third guy, Mr. Clifford Collins, now in the game for the Redskins.
Collins, a senior, Hammond, a sophomore, and Frazier, a junior. Check in to get some experience in the state tournament.
Meanwhile, for Lansing, Darius Mathis and Joseph Henry also get to get logged into the state books.
A minute to go and a 29-point lead, and Coach Rod Briggs will call a 20-second timeout for Lansing. And we look over there, I see Khalil Bailey is still limping a little bit on that right leg. It'll be interesting to see what his prognosis is moving forward, both on Friday and possibly his championship game on Saturday, because Bailey really is, if not the 6th man, maybe the 7th man on this team. Has been important to their success. They haven't needed him today, but he could be a big component of their success in later games.
He's very versatile. 7 points a game, 4.3 rebounds, but he has 9 double-digit scoring games this season, and 4 games with 7+ rebounds, and also 2 games with 4 blocks. Yeah, I fed you a lot of stats, but I'm just telling you that Bailey is a very key cog to this Lions lineup, and if he misses any time here, or even just playing at 80% or something Friday, that could be a very big detriment for the Lions.
Pass inside to Dante Gibson. He's fouled by Clifford Collins. Also for Liberal, number 12, Nolan Larkin into the game. Larkin is sophomore.
M&M Specialty Services specializes in protecting your people, the best quality and affordability and personal protection products from head to toe and beyond. M&M products protects your products by supplying you with field-tested quality products for pre-treating empty bins and facility areas. Let us know how we can be of service to you. 913-705-0690 or visit mmspecialtyservices.com.
1 of 2 free throws good for Gibson, and now a steal here in the open court. Joseph Henry couldn't get the layup.
Kind of looked like he couldn't decide to flush it or lay it in, and in the meantime, it just lips out.
Got a little caught in between there. Now a rejection from Darius Mathis of Lansing, also into the game now. 30 seconds to go, and can pretty much put a bow on this one. A 30-point game. Lansing 64, Liberal 34. And Dante Gibson comes up with the steal. He's defended near midcourt and defended perhaps a little bit too tightly by Daniel Frazier. In his enthusiasm, made some contact with Gibson, who will take another trip to the line.
That's always a way to get yourself into the scoring book at a state tournament. Go ahead and just get a foul. That way you're ensured to be in the box score. Daniel Frazier there, the foul for Liberal as Dante Gibson steps to the line.
Seemed to me that maybe Frazier's motivation was to foul Gibson so that they can get the basketball back and get one of these guys a chance to actually score a basket.
Oh, 100%. I would too, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. So Gibson misses the first once again, but hits the second, and Frazier has the basketball. He dribbles up the floor looking for daylight, gets it up, and can't get the basket. Eddie Hunt takes a hard fall over the back of Frazier. It's going to be another foul on Frazier. So about a minute and a half for him, and he's got 2 fouls. 0 for 1 from the field.
He's smiling and laughing, but Coach doesn't quite give him the same smile back with his arms crossed. But, if you're Liberal, you got to be pretty pleased. When you start out 3-11 on the season, you never figured you would make the state tournament. So, obviously, a pretty gratifying season overall with the end product for the Redskins.
And Liberal will have one more chance at a basket for one of these reserve players. It's Andre Jackson who's going to take it in, but rejected by Eddie Hunt. And they're going to call a foul. Eddie Hunt fell on top of Andre Jackson. Gets helped to the floor by a pair of Lansing players, Dante Gibson and Darius Mathis. So nice display of sportsmanship with 7 seconds left on the clock in a 66-34 game.
We spoke of the drive for Liberal, but for Lansing, short drive. And as we progress here, if Aquinas advances, we should see a lot more fans here on Friday. And if somehow, of course, it holds a seed, Lansing Highland Park should bring in a lot of fans here to the Expo Center on Saturday. 6:15 will be the time for the title game. Third place game before that.
And Lansing defeats Liberal by a final score of 66-34 and moves on to the semifinal round of the 5A state playoffs. And a chance to avenge a loss in the event that St. Thomas Aquinas beats Coppin Mount Carmel here in the next game. We have a chance to avenge that loss to St. Thomas Aquinas in the third place game of last year's state tournament.
Definitely, obviously, the game you won if you're a Lansing Lions fan and player and coach. And I think they won by a little bit more than we all had actually anticipated. Quite a sizable blowout for the Lions, but move on in advance as the Lions are feeling pretty good, rolling into the semifinal game, and we will see that here shortly. But what are your thoughts here, Ian?
It was a good game for Lansing in that they got contributions from people who are, of course, important parts of the team. To say that Mike Miller is unimportant would just be a lie, but seeing him come out and really, at times with ease, have the body control and just nice shooting from all around the floor, that's always going to be a positive thing anytime you can get guys to contribute more than they normally would. Clearly one of the concerns, though, is the health of Khalil Bailey. I think going forward, we'll find out what his prognosis is for Friday, what the coaches expect from him, but it didn't look good as he was sort of hampered on the sideline. Otherwise, everything looks very rosy right now for the Lions, and you got to tip your hat to Liberal for the way they finished the season, although they had a rough go of it today.
Yeah, Lansing has to be pleased with, of course, Miller's 15 points today. as he usually provides just good, solid defense and rebounding inside. But, of course, Joe Schneider off the bench. Bailey got hurt, but they played without Schneider all year. For the most part, he bobbed in and out of the lineup for a few games. But today, 11 points and 5 rebounds for the sophomore, along with a pair of steals. Isaiah Grice, your leading scorer for the game, 19 points, along with 9 rebounds. I'm going up and down the line for a little scoring recap. Mike Miller, 15 points, 4 rebounds. Chris Jones, 4 rebounds and 4 points, 5 rebounds. Lucas Mine with a bucket. Clay Young, 9 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. Eddie Hunt, 3 points, but a big 8 rebounds inside. Going over to Liberal, Kinley West with 10, along with Devondre Livingston also with 10 to break double digits. Bobo Ross with 5, B.J. Washington with 2, and three-point shooter Ozzie Villarreal, as we discussed, went 0 for 6 from behind the arc. Just 2 points for the Redskins. Public service announcement here by the state of Kansas. The swish of a basketball, the excitement of a free throw, the roar of the crowds, all combined to remind us that state champion basketball games are only moments away. Attend the games and support your team with pride and sponsorship during the final weeks of Kansas high school basketball. A public service message from your Kansas State High School Activities Association and 810varsity.com. And, of course, on 810varsity.com, follow live scores, brackets, and watch games online at 810varsity.com, the new home for Kansas City high school sports. With nearly 400 broadcasts this school year, live or archived, watch the games online at 810varsity.com.
One of the things I want to go over real quick before we go is that Chris Jones, you mentioned 5 was his season high. He did end up exceeding that. He had 6 blocks on the game, and to me that was really the story of the first half, because we both know that for Liberals' offense to be successful, they were going to have to go through Devondre Livingston, and they had trouble doing that all game long. Livingston finishes 2 of 8 from the field, did get to the free throw line quite a bit, especially in the second half, finished with 10 points to tie Kinley West as the leading scorer for Liberal. But I think ultimately Chris Jones did a very good job of shutting him down and making things difficult, that is, for Devondre Livingston.
Yeah, the biggest number that jumps out at me here, and this is the big eye popper. You talked about Livingston 2 of 8, Bobo Ross 2 of 13, 1 of 8 for Ozzie Villarreal, all totaling up to a very low 24% from the floor by the Redskins. And yes, that is correct, 24% for the game.
And, a lot of those, some of that was the good defense played by Lansing, but a lot of that was just based on the virtue of the fact that we could observe that it just wasn't Liberals' game. They had some good looks at the basket a couple of different times and just couldn't get it to fall, especially in transition. They had some layups that just didn't go, and because of that, it just leads you to believe that it just wasn't their game. And so it's a shame that they shot so poorly, but, they have a lot to be proud of. Having won 7 of their last 8 games to get here and making it to the state tournament is a pretty significant accomplishment.
And I think a lot of that came from Lansing's size. You have the big guys inside. You mentioned the 6 blocks by Jones, the 6'7" Eddie Hunt. Mike Miller's a big body. Sometimes when you go up against a bigger opponent, you sometimes feel the heat, and you think you got to get a shot off a little bit quicker, especially with all the block shots and contested shots that we saw a lot of, I would say, hurried or not really. Just kind of throwing some stuff up so without really getting into too much technical terms. They just kind of threw some stuff up there at the hoop on some of those layups and just missed them, as we saw the 24% show today. So I think we're about to have wrapped up this game as much as you can on such a blowout. So we'll see you here again. Of course, tonight, Harmon and Highland Park at 8:15, and the Lansing semifinal matchup against the winner of this game, 4:45 on Friday.
All right, for Chad Rader, I'm Ian McLean. Final score, once again, Lansing 66, the Liberal Redskins 34. The Lions move on to the semifinal round of the state playoffs, as Chad mentioned, Friday at 4:45 p.m. on 810varsity.com. Thanks for tuning in.
So wait, what's up with the Highland Park game later? Harmon does their own broadcast, but they're going to cool. Right on. That was that. Oh, you were supposed to stick around to 8:15.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, I mean,
Hell
if
that.
I'm getting paid for it,
Yeah, I
I
know,
probably
yeah.
would, but I was gonna be like, I just don't remember that being part of the.
No, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Ears are wet. I gotta get different. I got that headset I'll bring. Does it take what jack do you think? You take that one. I'll have to see what it's like. It's an 8 inch.
Oh yeah, 8th inch fits in here.
We'll see how it goes. Well, was it too far from the mic on this type of deal? Was it too loud, too soft? What was your opinion?
No, what do you mean? Like what?
Critique.
Critique? I mean, it's just a dynamic microphone. It just, you know, I think you did fine, man. I mean, I thought you got better as the game went on, but as far as like your technique of talking in the mic, you're just fine.
Yeah, try to keep it quick. Some of those ads run long. Like you said, I'm going to kind of, even though they gave it, just scratch some of those long ass ads. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the audio turned off.
Yeah, that's awesome. Some of those long ass ads.